Hello everyone, my name is BatNoBX, and today we're going to go over how to design a third-person level. So the entire area is just to set up a little thing, and eventually you just wind up back there. It's a common thing used in a lot of different story-based games. I'm using a reference off of like Gears of War for it. So I just got done recording this, and the audio didn't save, so I'll have to continue from where I was, because I do not have time to rebuild it all. So I have it so where the character starts here, and we designed it based off of the mechanics that we have, which are enemies, cover, walking, and sprinting. So I'm going to have to run two different variants. I have one where I have enemies that I can fight, but I only have them working in first person, and I have a third person that I can walk around and show you what it looks like in third person. With this, we start right here, and we have the idea of, okay, so a character gives us our first weapon, they break us out of some situation, and we join them. We come on over, some sort of scene is going on here that's telling the story of what's going on. My idea is that there's like characters down here welding a door shut because they know that they're being hunted down and they're trying to brace for it. So they're setting up to give the person who's rescuing you more time. So when you come over here, they're fighting, clearing out there, and then they've already cleared it out, and they're sealing the door down here. So you come over and then you head on over here and head up here because you can't go down from right here. So you come up here, and you're introduced to your first combat scene where one of your allies dies, and fight and defeat the character that defeats your friend. So when you come over here, you head on down, and you come on over, go down the stairs, and wind up back here. Could go through maybe like 5 or 6 different rooms if you really wanted the player to. As long as they come back here, you showed them a hint of the future, and it's kind of a type of foreshadowing. So I guess it's more of a foreshadow level design. And so what this allows it to do is so you can see an area that the character gets excited for, and they're like, oh, that's going to be a really cool area to fight in. And eventually it links back to fighting in there. So with all that in mind, I have the area already built. And what it is the same thing that I described. It's got this area, the hallway, the room over here it comes through. You got the area that you can look down. We've got multiple areas of cover. Originally, I had it working in first person, but I redesigned it at least I redesigned most of it for third person. And you come over here, here's where your ally dies, and the enemy spawns in. Then you come over here, here's the staircase that goes down, and you link over here, and then it comes outside. So let's go ahead and run through it in third person, and then we'll run through it and get to play some combat in first person. So let's go ahead and get started. So if we hit play here, character spawns in, they run over, that gun only works in first person. We'll go ahead and equip a rifle right here. I come over here, and the character can see over this edge right here. So I would need to shrink it down because the idea is that it's too high to jump over for the third person. But in the actual game, you don't need to worry about that. I would just need to set a bounds box, which is what I probably should have done instead of raising it so much. But the idea is that you could see down here and see the area that you have set up for the future, and it gets the players excited for what's going on and what's going to happen. And you would see the characters over there in the actual game working on and sealing that door over there. So once the AIs talk and everything, you get to come on down over here. You're led this way. When you step through here, you see this guy, and then he gets gotten down real quick. You're like, oh shit, that means there's some kind of combat over here. And then you see this guy right here, and you would take him out, you would head on to the next objective. So it's like, okay, you've been introduced to combat, so that's how it works. If we look around up here, I've set up a few areas for both you and the AI to cover behind. So right here, if you take cover right here, the issue is you got this little slot right here that you could still get hit from, but you could also use it to your advantage to kind of shoot through that little slot right there. But each little spot is designed specifically to be able to hide the character behind. So if I sit right here and I look over, I can still hide behind it, and I can peek and just bang, bang, bang. Same thing with right here. If I move over here and I sit there, I would probably raise this up a little bit. But this also gives the enemy the ability to hit you if you're not crouched low enough. So I would want to raise this at least 1 block higher, about this much. But then there's other areas like this right here. So like if I'm fighting from this side, I can play with like that. I could start shooting, use this slight angle to hide, then I can shoot, shoot, and it gives me this way to seeing way sooner than when I peek around the corner. So yeah, it's the idea of playing with the perceptive capabilities that the players possess when in third person. So once we're done with that combat, we come down here, and we come over here, come into this room, and this is where we would meet up with our allies. We would have a scene of them starting to talk, and then the door starts getting cut, and then it gets knocked over. And while it's getting cut, the player could take a moment and examine the room, find places to hide in, find areas that they really like. This is the part where it was designed in first person. So right here, we come over here, and we got these little slots that are just too small for the player to hide behind, because not every area is going to be perfectly set up. Right here, the characters had enough time to set up this cover, so that's why there's cover over here. And then when we come over here, we see that the enemy also has cover, so they're not just dropped in without any way of defending themselves. So the player has defenses, the enemy has defenses, but they also have to come in and they get shot down. Because this is a story mode game, you want the player to feel a little bit stronger, so you drop in a fair few enemies for them to take out. And so they come in and you can start blasting them, take out a few of them as they make their way over to cover. And that's when the fight really takes off. And from here, you can make it to where enemies keep spawning for a set amount of time, or you just set a certain number of them to spawn before they finally stop. Then we've got areas out here, the courtyard's designed without a set design to it. So that way you could play around out here however you wanted, just using everything that you learned before in order to set up out here. So like right here, I've got this little ridge right here with the building the way it is. You can easily play it off as this is all part of how the building is set up. I don't even have to go right there. I could even go like right here and just drag it over. The player will never know because it's outside of the map. They will never go over there. So they've got this area right here where they can take cover and hide behind and peek up and shoot, and the enemies could keep coming from over there. And this takes a lot of inspiration from the first mission of Gears of War, where Dom rescues Marcus and you go through and you end up going and that door gets spliced and busts open. So yeah, that's running through and showing you what it's meant to look like. Now I'm going to go over and show you what it looks like when we have the first person stuff and actual combat. So like I said, this is going to be in first person, so bear with me. We hit play. Oh, right. I need to, right. Alright, so now we go over here, we can pick up the gun, and now we see how the combat works. We come over here, we get that area down there. This is how it was originally built, because I forgot I was doing third person when I originally started. But you can see the idea is still working, even if you're doing in first person. So we come over here, and we go through that audio, that conversation, we come over here, we see this dude get taken out, then we come over here, it's like, oh shoot, we got this AI we have to take out real quick. It's like, okay. So, of course, we have to take cover in the actual in-game and really pay attention to how the fighting is going. We come down here, and it seems like the AI is having issues walking at the moment, which kind of sucks. But we come over here, we can take cover right here. We see the thing gets knocked over, and the AI should be moving, but they're just not. There we go. Now let's go ahead and re-walk through everything. So let's go ahead and hit play, go grab our weapon. Boom. Now the AI should be able to walk around. Let's let that nav build real quick. There it built. Now let's go grab our weapon again. So with everything set up, the level built in and everything, we can come over here. Of course, like I said, we see stuff going on down there, blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's making sure that the dart wouldn't knock that open. Come over here, he gets taken out. And the AI is still, oh, no, there he goes. So, as you can see, we had to actually avoid him shooting now. We got this whole area set up. The AI is not very intelligent right now, but they'd be able to take cover and they would hear you come in. And that'd give you your first introduction to combat. And come over here. And I'm going to need to be a bit smarter over here because there's 4 of them. So now they bust the door open, and I would want them to come on in here. So if I shoot one of them, they all should... Oh, nope. Let's get in their range and then get out of it real quick. Alright, so you get the point of the level. It's designed in order to all link together and have those stories built in. Like I said, it doesn't have to connect right away. Instead of connecting right here, we can have a whole room that goes on right here. And that would have to be beaten before we could go through. So if a simple edit for that would be to just expand the floor right here. And then take where our ceiling is at. And slide it on over. It'd be as simple as that. And that would allow us to have our combat here. And then we could actually have a thing where it kind of breaks off right there. So we still have to hit this spot right here in order to advance. And there we go. That's how we can get that to easily keep going with what we're doing. And it's easy to mix this over as well. So we just bring that across, go over like this, and cut out a little bit of it. And we can easily go like this. And now we've got a little curved wall right there that adds a bit more uniqueness to the level design instead of the flat that it was before. And then to really make this balanced out, I could re-grab the height right here, go across, and rebalance it across right here so the ceiling doesn't raise at a certain point. So now when we come down here, it all flattens out. It seems to have slight issues, so we can just boop, 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 boop. There you go. So yeah, and that alone adds a little bit to the level. And of course, you could even have it to where instead of it breaking right there, you could keep going. And that's just as simple as adding extra paths. Because you've got the wall that's going to go over here to block off their ability to see out there. It's very easy to add areas to this. So we go there. And then we can take this floor, expand it over here. And right here is where we could have it reconnect. It's as simple as that. And all it is it gives us a finite area to play with to kind of really strain the area, but also to give ourselves bounds to make it fit together really well. So when we get over here, it's all using our previs in order to be able to keep editing and going forward. So we can take this wall out. And there we go. So now we got a whole nother path system set up. And with the way that it's going right now, we can actually take this wall out, extend the floor to match right there. There we go. Now we've got a much larger room to play with. And even over here, you could actually extend this over a bit, where it's like right here. That creates a small enough believable gap that the players won't even think about it. Drag that across, there we go. And then it's as simple as rebuilding the walls over here. There it goes. So now we've got that all set up. We can just drag our ceiling across. And because it's so simple to edit this setup, using the previs for the cube grid, we've easily designed, and knowing where the point is that it links up at the end right here makes things so much easier when you're designing a level like this, because you know where your important story beats are, and you can just adjust as you go and find what really fits with your flow. So we come over here, cut this hole in. There we go. Cut it on down until we get to that door hole right there. And of course, to make sure that everything fits, we want it to go over there. So you have to hit the areas that we want them to hit. And that just requires us taking this, deleting, making it a believable space, and there we go. And we just adjust the floor to match. Now we've got a whole spot right here where the player comes on down. They go through this whole setup. You can have a whole nother combat in here, moment of story, and then you come over here and you reconnect back to this little setup area. Well, I hope you all learned something from this video. I hope if you did, please consider subscribing. I hope you all liked this video. If you did, please consider hitting a like. If you want to see more videos like this, please consider subscribing. I know this information seems pretty simplistic, but it's not really talked about. So even though it seems simplistic, everything that's simple isn't simple if you've never heard of it. So yeah, other than that, I hope you all have a good night and good luck with your game development.